And one day, I don't know what motivated her to say it. She said, kids like you are very rarely born in our place. But you're going to leave, you'll never come back. So you should never forget this village. You should be always here.
Avnish Agrawal,
Yes.
who first sowed that seed of entrepreneurship in you.
Yeah.
Tell us about that incident.
My brother Kumar would cook a really good South Indian meal.
Okay.
Avnish would enjoy it. His mother was visiting from Delhi once. She said, you converted my son to South India. And she said, I love it. He's getting good food. Then there's a Sindhi boy who taught me sales.
Really?
This is very all Indian.
Wow.
And the Japanese boss took me aside and he told me, 20 years ago, Bill Gates used to come here. I'm going to tell you, someday you are going to become like him because we are a lucky company. When you work with us, you'll be lucky. He told me.
Wow. And it was true. Absolutely true.
We need to create these global champions from India. And our government is taking those steps. And that's how I see it. We are part of it. Obviously, Zoho will not be the only company. It should not be the only company.
Absolutely.
There will be a lot of companies. In fact, I expect a very vibrant competition within India. Now it is spreading. The Make in India, now AatmaNirbhar, and the data sovereignty, privacy.
Yes.
All of these are now at the forefront. It wasn't there, say, 15 years ago. That is our message of that Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, the whole world is family. It is that extended Indian family approach. There could be quarrelsome, argumentative, all of that, but we learn to coexist well. The mutual coexistence and the preservation of all of these cultures, that is to me the Indian way. How personally warm he is. When he comes to your table where, our booth, his entire attention is focused. And the time I met him here, it was like you are meeting a friend.
You talk about a no layoff policy. It is good to hear it, but sometimes practically difficult given the business realities. So how have you been able to navigate that? Imagine you're from a village in India, you work hard, you go to the US, you become a tech entrepreneur, you build a $1 billion company. After all this, where would you choose to be based out of? Maybe Silicon Valley, or maybe New York, or Bangalore, or Gurgaon. The guest today on the GDP podcast chose Gaon, a village. Welcome to the GDP podcast featuring Sridhar Vembu from Zoho. Welcome to Sridhar's Tenakasi. Sridhar sir, thank you so much for having us over to Tenakasi.
Thank you for coming.
We were thinking of interviewing you in Delhi, but your team said that no, you should come to Tenakasi.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we took that choice. It is absolutely beautiful. The rains,
Yes.
the sights and the sounds.
Yeah.
It's like therapy for us.
Fresh air.
Fresh air. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So, I want to start this podcast with an incident in your life when you were 12 or 13 and an elderly village lady told you something that had a profound impact on your life. I want you to tell us about that.
Yeah. So this is a old lady who lived in our street, and I looked up to her like a grandmother. And she was a good friend of my grandmother too. And one day, I don't know what motivated her to say it. She said, she knew I'm academically doing well, right, in school, all that. She called and said, she told me, oh, it's kids like you are very rarely born in our place. But you're going to leave, you'll never come back. So you should never forget this village. You should be always here, she told me. That was, I think that is the story of so much of youth, right?
Yes.
They leave and never come back.
That's true.
Leave the places behind. And she said, you should come back. You should never forget. Make a commitment to this place, she said. And I think she had already sensed the migration of youth happening. So she told me this, and somehow it left an imprint on me since. So
Such a wise soul she was.
Yes.
And look what she's created by sowing that seed in your heart. That's absolutely amazing. You come from a very humble middle-class family in Tamil Nadu. Your parents have also had a profound influence on your life. Today, when you look at Zoho, there is a unique culture that Zoho has, a very unique way of doing things. What impact did your parents have on your thinking, your mindset? And today it's getting manifested in Zoho.
Yeah. So my parents first emphasized simplicity and simple living. And to this day, in our company, we try to follow it. There are no executive lunchrooms. There is no even a boardroom, all of it. The company runs, I sit in the same place. I eat the same food. These are sort of our traditional family values, our cultures that we are bringing into the company. The second important aspect, and you treat your entire everybody, whether it's employees, whether it's our associated staff, whether it's our drivers, our canteen staff, all of them, as a part of an extended family. And that's important. We eat the same food, all of us. All of these values, and that has a huge impact on morale. Which is why, in fact, we say the no layoff policy comes from the same thing. If we expect people to be an extended family, how can we just simply, randomly lay off people, as though it becomes very transactional at that point? So ours is very much that whole relationship society. It comes from the families, all of that. And when it comes to the corporate world, somehow we are importing this whole very American notion. Not even Japanese, not even Europeans traditionally believed in all this.
Yes.
This very modern American notion of a very transactional relationships. I don't think it has even worked for America. And so we are importing that. And so I don't want to import that. And I wanted to show that we can build technology without importing those systems. And that's what we are doing.
So beautiful. You talk about a no layoff policy. It is good to hear it, but sometimes practically difficult given the business realities. So how have you been able to navigate that?
Yeah. So how we navigate, first of all, you have to have a sense of where we are heading, and prepare our people for it. For example, right now, we are in the middle of a transition that could have a profound impact on software employment, the very field we are in.
That's true.
So I've often said, software engineers are like old handloom weavers. We weave together code. Powerful machine looms are coming. Today, there is LLMs, AI that generate a lot of code. They're not very good yet. They have problems. But this technology will get perfected.
It's only a matter of time.
But it's only a matter of time. And if they can be 10 times, 100 times more productive, it will have an impact on jobs. And so what do I tell our people? If you're a software engineer, become a domain expert. Become an expert in insurance or whatever that we are writing the code for and the applications we create. The domain expertise is more valuable than simply just the coding part of it. This is important, but the real value will be moving towards the domain. Customer experience, all of this, let's focus on. So we're preparing the ground. Similarly, we are entering domains like medical instrumentation, medical technology. So we think we will repurpose a lot of our talent towards it. And so this is how we are preparing the ground for our own transformation, potentially in a world where machines are generating a lot of the code.
I want to now talk a bit about your journey. You pass out of IIT, you set your sights to becoming an academician, wanted to be a prof.
Yeah.
you also land up with a job in Australia, and then you refuse that job.
Yeah.
So what went through your mind? Take us through that phase in your life.
So I went to US with the idea that I'll do a PhD and become a prof, publish papers. I never thought, in fact, this idea that I would become a businessman was never even in the, it was not even in the thought process. Okay. So, but towards the later part of my PhD, I started questioning the approach itself. So there's one thing, you are publishing papers, then you're also questioning whether all these are of any relevance.
What's the impact it's creating?
And and we are supposed to be engineering papers, but they don't have any real engineering relevance.
They're more abstract.
Abstract to the point of being pretty useless. That's how I'll say it. It's not. There is one thing that's abstract. There's one thing that's also completely useless.
Yeah.
And it went over that line. This was, even myself, my postdocs around me will debate that question. I'll argue this. This stuff that we are doing has no practical relevance in any conceivable universe. Because we are created the model itself. It's not even a model of reality. It's a model made up to write papers. So that's what I used to say. And because you can publish nice papers, that was the purpose of a lot of this. Unfortunately, a lot of academic work now has that flavor. That's why now you see the crisis where they'll say 99% of all papers are useless. All of that was visible even 30, 35 years ago, all of that. But those trends have only accelerated. So I decided I don't want to be part of that system. So that was the first major decision. I had to let go of all my dreams until that point. Then I had to find something new to do. Then I went to Qualcomm. I said I will become a proper practical engineer. And first time I learned some real engineering. Actually, to be honest, only after joining the job, I became a real engineer, learning engineering, writing code. I'd never written any code, nothing before. So that's what I learned for about 2 years. Then, it's really my brother, Tony Thomas. They all started. I was pulled along in that wave of, I think all of us were together. Tony, our co-founder, and my brother Kumar.
Yes.
And Shekhar, all of them. And that is how they returned to India, Kumar and Shekhar, and started this. And that is how the whole evolution happened. And today, in a way, I'm going back to my roots. So I'm chief scientist because I'm actually now finally indulging my passion for research. I'm doing research, but hopefully much more relevant to engineering problems this time. So, and also there is no pressure to publish.
That's true.
It's not publish or perish.
Yes.
So I'm doing it because it's going to be relevant, and work output would be, is it applicable to some product? Does it improve the quality of this? That's what I'm doing.
Your stint in Qualcomm, I was researching, and you mentioned about this gentleman, Avnish Agrawal.
Yes.
Who first sowed that seed of entrepreneurship in you.
Yeah.
Tell us about that incident.
He's actually now CEO of a startup in, I think, Netradyne. You can look him up.
Yes.
But he was in Qualcomm for about 25 years.
That's right.
20 plus years. And then we started up, he's in Bangalore now.
Oh, okay.
He used to be in San Diego, and then he eventually moved back to India as well, his family, and now he's a CEO of a company that makes equipment for car navigation, that type of autonomous driving type of thing. Very smart guy. He's also a PhD from Stanford, and he's from Delhi originally, and we were together, we met in Qualcomm. He had a master's degree, he got a bachelor's in Cornell, master's in Stanford, and he came to Qualcomm. We were colleagues working on the same project. And we spent maybe a year and a half, 2 years working on the same thing together. I don't know, there is a single day I have not had lunch with him in that time. And he is very persuasive, right? And he had that instinct. That's typically Delhi, right?
Delhi.
So he would say, we have to do this, we have to do that. He had 100 different ideas.
Of entrepreneurial dreams.
Yes, he had that. And my brother Kumar and I were his lunch mates.
Okay.
In fact, it was that Kumar would cook a really good South Indian meal.
Okay.
Avnish would enjoy it. His mother was visiting from Delhi once. She said, "You converted my son to South Indian." And she said, "I love it. He's getting good food."
Beautiful.
So he would enjoy all our delicacies. Kumar would cook up. And so we had all these discussions. And really, Avnish planted that seed in the beginning. And that led to Kumar coming back to India in 95 November, I believe. That's how the whole thing started. And then Shekhar, my brother, joined. Shekhar also spent about a month or two with Avnish there.
Okay.
So in many ways, Avnish had an influence on all of these things. Yeah.
Fantastic.
We should talk to him sometime.
Yes, we should. Definitely, I'll do that.
He's right there in Bangalore.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll connect with him. And what I like about your journey is that there are so many people who've contributed.
Yes.
Right from that elderly lady in the village to people like Avnish. And you've not forgotten any one of them. I think that is something to learn from you. You know?
Then there's a Sindhi boy who taught me sales.
Really?
This is very all Indian, I tell you.
Wow. And,
So I had
actually,
no sales
you never thought you would become a smart salesman.
I wouldn't consider myself a smart salesman. To the extent I know any sales, there was a Sindhi boy who taught me this in Silicon Valley.
Oh.
And he would take me to sales calls and he would say, "You keep quiet, I'll handle this. You watch." That's how I learned. He would instruct me like that.
And in fact, then I think that famous incident where you went for an event, I think it was in Las Vegas or something.
Yeah, Las Vegas, yeah.
Right? Take us through that.
Yeah. So Tony, our co-founder, he was the original guy who created the product. He had the company. He invited me for booth duty in Las Vegas. It was 97 May. And there was a show called Networld plus Introp. That's a leading networking show in the world. And he had a small booth, which he paid for his own pocket. He needed somebody's help, and I wasn't formally part of it. Kumar and Shekhar were working with Tony, and I was not yet part of it. I go there as essentially a volunteer for doing booth duty for Tony, my friend. And he's Kerlite, right, Tony? And he's a very good programmer. So I don't know very much about the code he had written, but I'm now having to explain it to people. So very soon we figured out I explain this better than he does. And in fact, later Neil would give us, or our Sindhi salesperson, he will tell us, "Tony, you absolutely keep quiet. Sridhar, you only speak when you need it. I'll handle the sales." That's
Now
all.
the tables are turned. Wow.
Because he'll say, "Tony, you don't know how to sell at all." Sridhar is learning.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to ask a bit about AdvertNet, the company that you established.
Tony started it first.
He started it. And how were those early entrepreneurial years, and what did you pick up from that experience?
Yeah. So this show itself was a good genesis. Tony had some revenue, but in this particular event, we found, in real time, a kind of a pathway. A lot of printer vendors, Japanese printer vendors, starting with at that time, Kyocera and Minolta were separate printer. This thing they had, Ricoh. I think even Canon came to our booth, and we had a bunch of printer vendors. This was in 97.
Yeah.
And I realized, now I'm observing this, I'm showing them the product. Tony, let me do this. He said, you are good at explaining to them. Go play it, yeah. So I was explaining this to them. And I told Tony, there's a market here. These guys need our software. As little as we are, they're nobodies.
But there is a need gap.
There is a need there. And why they need? Because it turned out they are competing with Hewlett-Packard in printers, HP.
And they were giants.
And HP had good software to manage the printers.
Their own in-house.
They had it in-house. And in fact, that was the industry standard for that software. It's called OpenView at the time. And the Japanese did not have that software. They cannot go and ask their primary competition, give us a software. It's not going to happen, right? So they needed something. That is what I figured out. I know why printer vendor after printer vendor is coming to our booth. And they spend half an hour, 1 hour, like that. The Kyocera person, I remember, it's an American in charge of this. He spent like an hour in our booth. And I was the one talking to him, and Tony was also there. And then we made up an appointment, said, I'll come and meet you in California sometime. And that's how one of the first relationships happened was this company, Kyocera. And then Minolta. And then Ricoh. So that year was like entirely Japanese printer vendors dominated our business. And I remember, actually, this is an interesting story. Kyocera, there was this person who came, Stuart, he had a Japanese boss there in the lab. And the Japanese boss took me aside and he told me, Sridhar son, I'm going to tell you something. He said, you are a startup, you have only small, 20 years ago, Bill Gates used to come here. I'm going to tell you, someday you're going to become like him because we are a lucky company. When you work with us, you'll be lucky, he told me.
Wow. And it was true. That's absolutely true.
This is a strange conversation, right? He took me aside and said,
Amazing.
You work with us, you are an early company. Bill Gates used to work with us, so you will become lucky, he said. So,
yes. And then in 1999, you famously turned down a buyout offer. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so in 99, in fact, our Sindhi boy himself, he came representing his company, Neil Bhutani. Neil Bhutani. And he actually he represented a company. He was actually a VP, I believe, in a company in New Jersey at that time. And they were in the telecom software business. And they were looking at us as a potential acquisition to modernize their software. That was a little bit of legacy, old stuff there. They wanted more modern software and they felt we had the right software. He did that, he identified that. And he said, he and I and Tony spoke to him. He said, you guys should get acquired. I'll recommend my company acquire you. And I said, Neil, we are not for sale. And he said, no, you should at least, don't turn it down like that. At least come and talk to us. So myself and Tony, we go to New Jersey and we talk about this, and they offered us $25 million. We only had $2 million revenue. And,
that's big money.
Yeah, it's big money. So Tony said, no, it's not. In fact, Tony asked all of us, do any of us want to sell? All of us, we had a meeting. No one wanted to sell. And we dropped it. Then next day I called up Neil and said, Neil, you should come work for us. He said, Sridhar, this is boldness. We tried to acquire you and you are trying to acquire me. I said, try me. We need a very good, the UI. You said our software is valuable. We don't know very much sales. You are in business, you know how to sell. Come. He said, you can't afford me. He said, try me. And he quoted his figure. I said, come, we'll pay you. Come.
Wow.
That's how it happened. Wow. And actually, that year, he tripled our sales. We went from 2 million to 8 million in 1 year because we had a proper salesperson. But the reason it happened was before that, the Indian customer in Silicon Valley who told me, you are an idiot. You are the salesman here. You don't know any sales. He told me after signing the contract, he said, you don't know how to sell at all. This is literally what happened. We signed a deal for a $30,000 software. He took me aside and said, your software is worth a lot more than this. You don't know how to sell. You don't know how to ask for money. Hire a proper salesman. Don't do this. At least I got a good deal. Make sure you charge the next customer a better price, he told me.
So nice of him.
And that's when Neil Bhutani was trying to acquire us. And then he came on board about 2 months later and he tripled our sales.
Wow.
Showing us how to sell. So,
and this thing that, this company is not for sale is something that you reiterate and you talk about, where you say that this is not just a company, it's a mission. Was this idea of this becoming a mission, when was it clear to you?
Even that moment, when we all together decided we'll turn it down, it comes from this, right? You look at Tony today, one of the humblest people. I call him my Buddha, I've always said. And people call me simple. Tony is, extraordinarily simple man. To this day, nothing has changed. Whatever he was then in 97, it's the same Tony
The same
now.
guy.
In fact, he looks still young. So I joke with him, Tony, you'll never age. He looks exactly the same. And all those years. So Tony is the same person. He still writes code. He's happy writing code, all of that. And he's still, people will mock Tony. He will always laugh. I've never seen him get angry once in 30 years. So that is his personality. That personality has kind of endured in the company in a way, in many ways. All of that. So that's the key, right? How do you turn down $25 million then? If you had that, desire, I want to do something with the money, we would not turn it down.
Yes.
But he never had that.
So what was the desire which was driving you?
We want to invent, we want to build products, we want to do more, hire more engineers, invent more, build all this. So ever since we have built, hundreds of things now, and we keep building. So
Take me through this movement from America to Tenakasi. How did that happen? What were those incidents that finally led you to come here?
actually, even before I moved personally, that was only in 2019. It's relatively recent, about 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Our operation here started in 2011. And so that itself was roots in a few years before, where it was clear that we have to go rural, more rural. It was increasingly obvious that we should do it. But who is going to build the cat? When is it going to happen? So that was how the real question. And
And you would keep discussing this among yourself?
Yes, I would definitely be talking about this, and other people will be talking about this. This is happening. But then 2011, few people volunteered to come here. I have no connection to Tenkasi. I'm not from here. In fact, I had never visited here. In fact, before we bought this land, all that, I did not know where in the map Tenkasi was. I knew it was somewhere down south somewhere. I didn't know where it was. So
You are more near to Salem, right? Where is
no,
your
I'm Tanjavur. Kumbakonam. Actually, Kumbakonam is,
Kumbakonam.
I know that region well, but I did not know Tenkasi at all. So, and we had decided, actually, this was a little bit of a theory in this. Early on, I'm always, a rural-minded person. Even in the US, we actually lived in a relatively rural outpost stuff. We did not live in Silicon Valley. We lived in a kind of a remote
Suburban
rural
area.
outpost, not even suburb.
Okay.
It's actually a ranch area.
Wow.
In fact, I had a couple of goats. And my fellow, the neighbors, they were all cattle ranchers.
Oh, really?
They had cows on their property often.
Beautiful.
And you had even actually gun ranges nearby. Because there's so much land. There are people who had thousands of acres of land. Okay. So the thousands of acres of pretty dry land, desert-like land, but really thousands of acres in California. That is how the environment was. I loved it. In fact, we lived for 10 years before I moved back to India. So, and that already we had the rural interest like this.
And it was clear in your head that you want to come back.
Yes, it was clear to me that even in the US, I'm going to live only rural. I'm never going to live in a big city. I probably in my entire life, I would have visited San Francisco 5 times. So that's how I am. New York, I have visited maybe 3 times. Chicago once, like that. So if I were to have lived there, I would look for a ranch remotely somewhere. Same like here, right? So that is how it was. But I was going to, in India, I had a different, I had observed this. Our population density even here is quite high. The population density of this village, this panchayat, is probably about 350 people per square kilometer.
Very unlike America. As you
Yes,
said.
very unlike America. There you go to rural counties, you may have 5 people per square kilometer,
Yes.
20, 30. Here it will be 300, 400, 500.
So you saw potential there.
Yes, and there's places in UP where it could be 1,000 in a
Absolutely.
rural area. I'm talking about rural area,
Yes,
not
yes,
urban.
Yes.
Urban density could be 20, 30, 40,000 per square kilometer. Rural, we are talking about 300, 500 per square kilometer. So that's very high compared to the rest of the world. That means anywhere within the 20, 30 kilometer radius, you're going to have a lot of kids. And I am a believer that if you invest early in that, in the kids, and create this, you can create all of the skills and talents you need. So I don't ask, is there going to be talent there? I ask, how much time will it take us to create the talent there? So that is you ask a different question.
Yes, absolutely.
I really believe our young entrepreneurs should be asking that question today in India for their own success long term and for our nation's success. They would ask the question. So that's why I say start at -5 years. Maybe take a 5-year period as your talent creation. It won't quite take 5 years, but you give yourself the 5 years.
5 years.
So that your ups and downs you can handle.
There is a cushion that you have.
Yes, and you have a cushion. You have ups and downs you can handle. Right? You prepare for a 5-year period where you are creating the talent. Then the 0th year is only after 5 years, and that's how you can do this. That's exactly the mindset we have here.
And then the movement to Tenkasi, 2019, you said.
Yes, I did.
How have been those years? What have been the learning of setting up a global enterprise out of rural Bharat?
Well, we have a large R&D center here. I live here now. And we have, in this village itself, we have created a school and a clinic and all this office here, all of that. So we are slowly expanding our footprint. But to be clear, we don't want to make this a big city. We're going to spread this around. So that's why we have it in multiple other districts now.
Yes.
We are slowly spreading now. And our approach is that some senior manager would be interested in that place and they would move there and then we start this type of an experiment.
Oh, so that's how it works.
That's how it
works.
works.
So if someone becomes an anchor,
yes,
he's interested in that, moving to that place.
Correct. You always need that anchor. And because that anchor is the one who creates the cultural glue to the rest of the company,
yes.
right? And how do they know what, as they joke, how do they know where all the bodies are buried? Right? That's
you
important.
need an expert for that.
You need an expert for that. That's a cultural knowledge.
Yes.
Or that's what they call the implicit knowledge. The knowledge you cannot write down in a piece of paper.
Yes.
So that knowledge is what, along with their own skills, their own technical skills, all of that, create this talent pool, and then it takes root. And then you create more experts. And we have created some AI experts, compiler experts, mechanical experts. Then we can actually design electronic hardware here.
All here in Tenkasi.
Yes, all here.
And all local talent.
Yes. And from here it has branched off into Kottarakara in Kerala, which is about an hour and a half away across these hills. These very hills you cross about an hour and a half. You get to Kottarakara, and there we have some 60 people now building up some robotics and AI expertise there.
Amazing. Prime Minister Modi mentioned you in his radio program Man Ki Baat, and then later on he met you. He said that you are the symbol of AatmaNirbhar Bharat. What does this philosophy mean to you in practical terms?
Yeah. It means today, I'll come from an economic angle first. What does it mean for us to be a developed nation? For us to be prosperous? Really today, where is prosperity coming from? It's coming from value addition. And the simple way I explain it is, your rice paddy here we grow, or the vegetables we grow, maybe 20 rupees, 40 rupees, 50 rupees per kilogram. Your iPhone is, 3 lakh rupees per kilogram. Right? Both are human products. Humans got it out of soil, both in a sense, because that is also silicon, soil. You have so much value addition in the iPhone. And so you have to, the value addition is the key to economic prosperity today. We cannot have a trade where we sell the low value added products and other nations sell us the high value added products. Then we accept forever that they will have the high income, we will have the low income. There is nobody can contest this. This is absolute truth. But how do we create the high value addition? We have to learn to compete in the iPhone world, not just in the rice paddy world. We need the rice paddy, but we also need the iPhone.
That's true.
That is, to me, really the spirit of AatmaNirbhar. To create sustainable prosperity for all, we have to be where the value addition is happening. That is, so much of it is in technology. That could be in chips, in semiconductors, in AI, in robotics, in advanced machinery, in biotechnology, in radars, in avionics, fighter jets. Where the value is, we have to be there. Medical equipment,
Yes.
a big one.
Absolutely.
Because today we are importing a lot of it. So for us to create a sustainable prosperity for all, to be a Vikasit Bharat in 2047, we have to create that economy where our people are capable of competing in the world of value addition. So that's the key.
Absolutely.
To me, that's really the message of our Prime Minister Modi ji.
When was the first time you met him?
I met him actually. I met him in a couple of events where he came by our booth. I've spoken to him briefly. And I met him last year when he came for election campaign. I met him.
Okay.
Yes.
Any anecdote that you remember? Any conversations that stayed with you?
How personally warm he is. When he comes to your table where, our booth, his entire attention is focused on you. He's intently focusing and he connects. And the time I met him here, it was like you are meeting a friend. That he creates that
warmth.
that easy warmth in you. So that's really talent by itself, right? That is amazing.
Such an endearing quality.
Endearing quality, and I want to learn from this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have it too, by the way. And that instant warmth that you
Yes,
develop.
correct.
I want to understand your views on digital sovereignty. That is a point that now is a subject of conversation. That India's data which should stay with India. How important is it? And what do you think of the government's initiative towards it? What is your view on that?
First, I'll explain why India's data should stay with India.
Yeah.
There is all the national security, all of those questions. That's one side. But come to even the value addition today. It is the data that's becoming the AI. There is no AI without data. And when somebody else creates AI, sells it back to us at a high value addition, high margin, we are again caught in the low value addition. We are buying the high value addition product. In fact, it goes even deeper. Take all our global capability centers today. We are celebrating them. A lot of the IP, even in the latest NVIDIA chip, is created in India by Indian citizens working in India, not Indians sitting abroad.
Yes.
Indians here very much in our nation. But where is IP registered? Where does most of the value addition flow? Not here. And that value addition is also tax revenue for the government. Because really all taxes are coming from value generated by our own people. If the value is not here, the government does not get the tax corresponding to the value added here. So we are creating the inventions, the intellectual property, but we are not reaping the value here. Most of the value is not here. So it is the same with data. If the data is not here and the data is not used by AI, the value addition, and the value added by AI is not accruing to our economy, then we don't get the infrastructure, we don't get the tax revenues, all of that. So today, it is even possible that GCCs, they pay only the salaries here, the value addition is elsewhere, but they do expect the government to give them the infrastructure, all of that, without paying into the system in terms of the taxes on the value generated. So we would be in a position where we are creating all the infrastructure for them without deriving the tax revenues from all the value added. These questions must be asked.
Absolutely.
We should look the gift horse in the mouth, as they say.
Yeah, that is true. And when you look at the government's initiative, the way they have approached data sovereignty, are you happy with the way the government is approaching this?
Definitely that awareness is now spread all over. See, 15 years ago, we did not have this. I wish we had this 25 years ago, right? But the best time is now it is spreading. The Make in India, now AatmaNirbhar, and the data sovereignty, all of these are at the forefront. Privacy,
yes.
All of these are now at the forefront. It wasn't there, say, 15 years ago. And so I'm very happy to see this direction. We still have a lot of work in the private sector to catch up in the capabilities. And to me, this must be done in the private sector. Nowhere in the world, not even in China, is the government inventing the technologies. It's the private sector that's inventing the technology. The government offers a useful support, backdrop, if you will.
In an environment.
But create the environment, but the private sector must do the hard work of inventing.
Government of India's adoption of Zoho Mail, Zoho Workplace for official communication has been in the news. I believe rigorous security evaluation happened
Yes.
before it was cleared for approval.
Over 18 months of rigorous evaluation.
Okay.
Yes.
So, how does such a partnership impact the nation? And when you look at yourself as a tech entrepreneur, when the government extends this kind of a support, what does it mean for our tech ecosystem, and how do you see this impacting us as a nation?
Yeah. Let's look at now China. And China now has very strong tech ecosystem. It's obvious. From Alibaba to Tencent to the search engines to all of it now. AI companies, DeepSeek. Where did that come from? If you go back 25 years ago, they had a very fledgling internet tech system. But the government made some critical decisions that enabled these companies to flourish and become world champions. We are in the same trajectory. We need to create these global champions from India. And our government is taking those steps. And that's how I see it. We are part of it. Obviously, Zoho will not be the only company. It should not be the only company.
Absolutely.
There will be a lot of companies. In fact, I expect a very vibrant competition within India. And we should get competition within India. And that's going to happen. The sheer demographics, the sheer talent pool means that everything we do will have very strong, vibrant domestic competition. In fact, it is Chinese companies competing hard with each other that are improving each other. That's going to happen in India as well. Now let's come to the US. They are very strongly now, both Trump and Biden administration, this is not a political question, are very clear that the semiconductors have to be made there. So they have ensured that TSMC has the latest fabs in Arizona now. And so that's happening there. Then why is it that only for us, when we talk to the West, that we should actually mandate that whether Apple or whoever create the intellectual property here? We should mandate it. If they want access to our market, create the IP here.
There's no other choice.
There's no other choice. We have to ensure that US is doing it TSMC. Why can't we do it with Apple or Google or anybody? These questions must be asked.
One question that was coming to my mind was, how can India strike a balance between digital openness and strategic autonomy when it comes to global technology dependencies? Because it's a fine balance.
It's a fine balance. So that's why I said certain mandates might help. We definitely want the foreign companies operating here, but they must have a very strong regulatory regime in which they operate. For example, the IP ownership. Who has the kill switch?
Yes.
If you are operating in India, the skill switch cannot be situated somewhere else.
Yes.
That has to be very clear. It has to be written into law and enforced properly and verified, verifiable compliance. That's important. And global majors will want to participate because they know the Indian market is too crucial to pass up.
Yes.
So we have to insist on this. Initially, they'll give you all simple nonsense stories, but if you insist, it will happen. If we insist, it will happen. So we have to gain the clout to insist. And our very market is the leverage we have, market size. That's one. And coming further, the domestic ecosystem. This is also important for taxes and other reasons. If the value addition is not happening here. So the first one is the strategic autonomy question. The second is the value addition. Where is the value added? Where is the value recorded? Who gets paid in taxes? Which taxpayer and citizens benefit from it? Those are all important. For example, consider the infrastructure question, urban infrastructure, whether it's Bangalore or whether it's Chennai, wherever. Don't the GCs have a stake in that city? Shouldn't they be paying into the infrastructure? This is not a socialist question. This is very much everywhere in the world. It is the value-adding companies that are paying into the infrastructure. They have to do it. So and in Tenkasi, we are actually contributing to the infrastructure growth here. So this has to be done.
And we need to now learn to create that playbook.
Yes.
So that every district there are, there is entrepreneurship, and that is beautifully coexisting with the government.
Correct.
And development is happening.
And that is how it is happening in well-functioning countries like Switzerland, southern Germany, all of that. It is really the private sector is operating in that framework where they are creating value and they are also paying into the system. It comes back to why does the Swiss teacher can buy an iPhone with 4 days of pay? Why does an Indian teacher require 6 months of pay? It's a fundamental question, right? It's the same iPhone, the same teaching job. Why does one, 4 days of pay and this? It goes to who has the value addition, who creates the technology, where is the value added, and how is the value spreading through the economy.
As we now become a superpower, as we become now a serious tech player and a serious global player, our style of leadership and our style of doing business is slowly developing. So what is, according to you, Sridhar sir, the Indian way of doing business, the Indian way of creating global corporations, and how will it be different from, say, an American or a European approach?
Yeah. In fact, the American and European approach themselves are different. The Japanese approach is different.
Yes.
And the Chinese approach is different. So first we have to accept that there is an Indian perspective on.
Yes.
First, we are a very vast, diverse nation. And I mentioned in our own history, whether it's Avnish Agarwal and Tony Thomas and Neil Bhutani, look at the influences,
Yes.
all of it. It's a very all-Indian company.
Such a pluralistic
Yes.
society.
And the different languages.
Yes.
And all of it. That is what makes us natural to deal with the world on its own terms. So we are the only nation that doesn't want to go there and impose our particular worldview and value systems on somebody else. And the Western nations, regrettably, have tried to do that. And they still try to do that.
Yeah.
They want to impose their value systems on everybody else. When we go to Middle East, we operate according to Middle Eastern laws and their customs. We are not going there to say we will impose our values on you, right? That's important. And that is our message of that Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, the whole world is family. It is that extended Indian family approach. There could be quarrelsome, argumentative, all of that, but we learn to coexist well. That mutual coexistence and the preservation of all of these cultures, that is to me the Indian way.
So what would be your message to the young entrepreneurs of Bharat who look at you as an inspiration and are inspired by the absolute amazing journey of Zoho, and now they want to build their own Zoho? What would you say to them?
I'd say your ability to dream is important. Also, you have to be able to translate that into action, reality. Have a big dream, but take small steps. Every single day, month, keep advancing ever so slowly. If you start young, you have a 30, 40, 50-year journey ahead. So you can take it one step, one day, 1 month at a time. That's important, both the long-term outlook and this. The second, I would say, this is needed today, particularly. We cannot have, money alone cannot buy you happiness. This is very important for our youth to realize. Materialistic success by itself does not produce happiness. This is an age-old wisdom of our land. The only land that has taught this for thousands of years, 5,000 years, is this land. And I can tell you that from lived experience. It is really our ability to impact, help other people that brings us happiness. Our service to all that brings us happiness. That has to be internalized. So why are we doing all this? It is not just so that we can have more and more stuff. And today there's a more urgent need also. I know climate change, global warming, a lot of people think it's a hoax. It is not. We see 50-degree temperatures we have never seen before in many parts of India. And we see glaciers melting, including Himalayan glaciers, all of that. So it is important, and all of that comes down to lifestyle. More and more and more will only destroy the planet. This is again the wisdom of our own ancients. So the contentment and humility, the spiritual core of Bharat, is essential. The idea in Tamil we say, Podhumentra maname punsayin marunde. Really that emphasizes contentment.
What does that mean?
Podhumentra maname punsayin marunde. It means that the heart that is contented is the sort of the medicine the real universal elixir. The contentment inside is the kind of elixir of life, you can say.
Wow, beautiful.
That's a saying, and this is there. It's a very popular saying in Tamil. This is embedded in our civilization. Now, every language, I'm sure, has something like this. Similarly, humility. That's important. When we operate, when we are in the globe, we want to be humble. We want to accept of all of the cultures and civilizations, not imposing our value system, because imposing itself means a kind of arrogance. So that humility is necessary, contentment is necessary. This is needed for the entire world. The soul of our civilization is in the village, and that you will see this once you move and once you experience all of this. I have actually learned so much in the last 6 years. So create your operations there, train the youth, while keeping in mind all of this, the why we are creating material prosperity while emphasizing contentment.
So, Sridhar sir, what are your future plans? What are you excited about now?
Right now, I can give you this month, next month, a lot of updates on Aratai are rolling, and I'm personally involved in a lot of them, reviewing and the one big one is we did a option 1, option 2 on X. We're going with option 2, system-wide mandate.
Okay.
That involves some bit of work on our part, but we are rolling it out. And so that's the one. Option 2 means system-wide, Aratai-wide mandate for end-to-end encryption. So that is happening. So that's the first one announcement. And second, we are also working on some AI-related technologies. Those are getting into products in a steady way. And we are also planning some massive data center expansion around all this, because we have to put in the infrastructure. Even if I think there is a big bubble going on, there is a part of the technology that's real, and we want to be sure that we are competitive. So we're putting in place the infrastructure.
Wow. So when you are not building Zoho, how do you spend your spare time?
I spend a lot of time working in these villages around, visiting, partly to learn. See, this is the part that our nation, our educated elite, have decoupled a lot from the real mass of population. Which is why oftentimes election results, the English media never catches what is going on.
That's true.
Even the last election, it happened.
Yes.
When you sit here, you see a different view of the world.
Yes.
I actually understand the political pulls and pressures that are going on by sitting here than by in Chennai or anywhere. And that, I think, it's not good for our society to have that division. Which is why I emphasize that we should learn, make sure all our children learn the mother tongue well, learn everything in the mother tongue well, learn English as a good language, as a language. The way, for example, Swedes or Finns.
Yes, absolutely.
They study everything in Finnish. And these are countries with very tiny population. Like 6 million people, they learn everything in their language. With 70, 80 million people here, we don't think our languages are viable. 10 times the population. If you look at Kerala with 40 million people, South Korea is same population. South Korea does everything in Korea.
Yes.
We should be able to do it in Malayalam and Kerala.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should learn English as a link.
But our foundation should
be in our mother tongue. That's the only way we can actually connect with all our citizens. This language barrier is real in India today. And that's important to address, because otherwise we don't bring in all the talent, rural talent, all of it. That's why I'm so passionate, and I visit all these places. And I have a rule, whenever I am in Tamil Nadu, I speak in Tamil.
And you know what? Our driver, when we were driving to Tenakasi, he said that Sridhar sir is so humble that if anyone in the village reaches out to him for a marriage invite, he makes sure he attends that marriage.
Yes. In this village, in the surrounding, I do attend temple festivals, all that. I am part of the community.
Yes.
This is my home.
So much to learn.
Thank you.
We've done many podcasts, but I think very few have been so soulful, so full of wisdom, intelligence.
You have done so much research. I'm really amazed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.